Dr. Harry Belafonte says his cause of death was congestive heart failure. He was such an I had the wonderful, wonderful honor and opportunity to sit down with him back in March of 2018 when Calypso was added to the National Recording Registry. First of all, I mean, the stories, can you imagine, of the people that he not only worked with as an artist, that he sang with, from Dorothy Dandridge to Sidney Poitier, but the people who led the struggle for rights in this country, like Dr. King and others. And he was just, it was just sitting next to him, Anne-Marie, was like you're sitting next to the sun. And then afterwards, he even recorded a personal message for my mother, who my mother had a crush on him, as all women did, when they were younger. And so he recorded a message for my mother. And I got to say, it's probably the one thing that, as a journalist, that I do, that my mother was like, okay, this kid's finally made it. He was with Harry Belafonte.
And you know, one of the things about him, we talk about him being an activist, right? What people need to know is he was amongst a handful of kind of like black superstars, right? That could seamlessly go back and forth between sort of black world and the white world. And so to be an outspoken activist would have put his career at risk.
Yes.
Right? He really didn't need to do it.
Yes.
But because he was in this position, he recognized that it was a privileged position, that he, you know, and for that reason did not back down and was a very outspoken.
And, you know, there's a fascinating story. Just to explain a little bit of the things that he had to deal with, there was an actress, Petula Clark, who Harry Belafonte was on a television show with her almost 50 years ago. And he, just during that television show, happened to put his hand on her. And you can't imagine. I think people who are younger and may not understand the kind of racism, virulent racism we were talking about at that time in the mid-1960s, there were calls to the television station to, you know, it was horrific. Yeah. And yet he was still able to, he marched with Dr. King, he was still able to write checks to the civil rights movement when they needed funding. He was an incredible individual. And on top of all that, he had this amazing voice, was incredibly, like, probably one of the most handsome men who ever worked in Hollywood.
Like, even now.
I know.
I mean, sometimes you look at people who were superstars before, you know, and you go, oh, I guess that was handsome back then. But this is a guy who's been handsome forever.
Yes.
No matter what era.
Yes.
Everyone agrees.
Yes. Harry Belafonte, he will be missed. A legend, really a legend.
All right, so we have some other news to tell you about. Sudan is under a 3-day ceasefire, a measure meant to give foreigners a chance to flee the country amid rising violence. So we have the latest on the two rival generals in the middle of this conflict and the efforts to help Americans evacuate. We'll be right back.
People from every corner of America facing challenges.
Everyone is just looking for some type of connection.
Just raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to help.
Coming together to find solutions.
We are going to do something about it.
Their stories are our stories.
Welcome to Eye on America.
Stream now on the free CBS News app.
The first U2 show really was on this outside here.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nora